much, everyone. The Tinubu government plans big in the area of taxation, and it hopes to generate huge money or revenue through that. Tonight, we shall be speaking with the Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mr. Zach Adedeji. He joins us live here in our studio. Thank you so much, Chairman FIRS, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sean, for inviting me.
They talk about the fact that you are the tax man. And there seems to be a lot of burden on you in terms of revenue, because the Minister of the Economy, Hope, and he says that the agenda of this government is that looking through taxation and reforming making a lot of reforms will help the government to generate a lot of revenue. But give us an understanding holistically, in a 12 calendar month, what is the projection of this government in terms of revenue generation through the FIRS?
Thank you, Sean. Thank you very much. You quoted Honorable Minister while inaugurating the retreat, or declaring open the retreat on reimagining the tax administration in Nigeria, which is done by us yesterday. The expectation of federal government through MTEF is that we will have above 19 trillion from us in federal inland revenue to collect. And that is coming behind what, by God's grace, we've done last year, that were able to collect above 12 trillion, which is above the set target of 10 trillion that the government gave us. So we exceed that target last year by the essence of 2 trillion. Compared to what government asks us. And then, they say the reward of good work is more hard work. So government, in its wisdom based on the MTEL, have given the service the target of 19.4 trillion as target for the next
Is that realistic?
Well, it's very
From
realistic.
12 to 19.
Yeah, it's very realistic, and that is why the essence of what we've done since yesterday and today with my team and colleagues, that we need to reimagine how do we want to do that. Because when you have that kind of goal, the first thing you need to check is your foundation and the structure through which you want to get that done. And that is why we have to refocus what do we do as a service. And then just to re-emphasize that the service is not a revenue generating agency. We are revenue collecting agency. We collect by our mandate. We assess, we collect and account for all money accruable to Federation, and we administer tax law. That is our duty. So for us to be able to do that, as Mr. President has said severally, that our aim is not to increase tax burden by increasing tax rate or tax type. That we are not going to tax the seed, we will only tax the fruit. And then if you are to do that, you must learn and put structure in place to water the tree. So if it's only fruit you want to tax, to water the tree. And that is what informed the restructuring that we are doing now from federal inland revenue. We are moving from functional or type of taxes categorization to customer-centric. And what that means is that we want to focus on our customer, which in this case is taxpayer. And we want to give them the service of a one-stop shop, that when they come, they solve all their taxes. And that is what led to the categorization that we're having effective February 1. We will move from the whole structure that we have, and we will move to the structure where you will have all categorization of taxes by threshold. So you have large tax offices, you have medium, and you have small. Large tax of these offices or group is defined by the threshold. When you have your turnover more than 5 billion, you belong to large tax, whether you are oil and gas, bank, or whatever. If your turnover in a year is more than 5 billion, you are large tax group.
The big boys.
Yes. If your own is between 1 billion and 5 billion, you are medium. And then anything less than 1 billion becomes small tax group. And why we have to do that is to give them the good experience that when they go to tax office, they solve all their problem. Today, you have VAT, you have withholding, you have stamp duty, you have all this one, and that gives a cost of compliance, most especially from our customer, taxpayer, too high, because they have to learn how to comply with this. It causes a lot of destruction into their business because they will have to come from audit, from VAT, from all the rest. But now, we say all type of taxes that you want to do, if you are large tax, go to one office. You do your VAT, you do your CIT, you do your withholding, you do all form of taxes. And the same way, if you are to be checked or audited, it is the same person that will have to come and check you. The same thing for medium, the same thing for small. What would this do for us? One, it will reduce the cost of compliance and destruction to the business. Don't forget, it is when they are prosper that we can tax them.
So yeah, you only tax the profit.
Yes, that is
so
it.
Profit of less than 1 billion are the small one, the small office.
Yeah.
Between 1 billion and 5 billion, the medium.
Yeah.
5 billion and above,
large.
The large.
And that
are
is
you going to set up? Are you going to set up the turnover of each of these investments? Are you going to set up offices, different offices for the small, medium, and large, or is this still going to be under the FIRS?
No, it is FIRS because today, the way we are structured today is by type of taxes. For example, you have VAT, or you can go to VAT offices. When you do that, what that means is that whether you are a small holder or medium or large, you go to the same place, and then when you have to do your withholding tax, you go to another office. You want to do CIT, you go to another office.
So as a company, for example, if we have ZAC Adedeji Limited, and you are going to do your tax, you do it once and for all in 1 year.
No, not only in 1 year, in one place.
In one place.
Yes, all type of taxes that you pay or remit has to be done in one place.
Okay.
Unlike today that you have to go to too many places to get that done. So we are changing that system. And why? It's because we want to develop our expertise in those areas so that we can increase service delivery to our customer, which in this sense is taxpayer.
Can they now remit their taxes digitally?
No,
because that is part of what you announced is that you are modernizing and digitizing tax paying.
Honestly,
tax payment.
And honestly, till now, that is what they are doing. They are remitting this tax through digital method. They pay online through banks. They don't do it manually. But what we are changing, instead of going to many offices to do your tax filing, we are saying now that if your turnover is above 5 billion, you belong to large tax group. You go to only one place to do all your taxes.
Are you setting up different offices that people will go?
No,
For example, in Abuja now.
Yes.
Your office is I think is in...
It's in many places here.
Yeah, okay, you have different offices.
Yes.
So now, for those who are the large taxpayers, where would they go?
No, it is like this airline that you have. You see people with first class, you see people with upper class, medium class. It's the same airplane. But in that airplane, you see different segments. That is it. And exactly.
So you have expert dealing with it different.
Exactly.
Is it possible also in your digitization policy to have companies with their dashboard to be able to see their tax profile, so that easily you can be able to monitor? Since now that you are trying to simplify and make life easier for customers.
Yes. No, it is very simple. Today, what happened? If you are, let's say, mobile, you have VAT matter, you go to VAT office. If you have stamp duty, you go to stamp duty office. You may have compliance and enforcement differently. So you have too many people going to you, or you go to too many people in filing or performing your civic responsibility. When I say that one is not helpful, one, it increases the cost of compliance. Two, it does not allow us to develop the core expertise that is needed within the service to be able to serve our customer, in this case, taxpayer. We are now changing that instead of being functional or type of taxes focus, we are moving to customer-centric focus. That let's do this categorization by customer. So when you come to a one-stop shop and you solve all your tax problems.
So in the UK, for example, and I make that example, I mean, you wouldn't see every agency is just collecting tax. You have one house where your federal tax collection will be. Is that what Nigeria is going to operate to?
By God's grace. But you know, we have to take it step by step. So the first thing is to integrate without consolidating. So we use technology to integrate our system first. So that is the first stage that we have to go to, that Federal Land Revenue integrate with custom integrate with names to get the name of the people, integrate with other data, we integrate with CAC. Those are the steps which we are taking now. We will not do fiscal collapse or integration now. We are only doing system integration, and that is the reason why categorization you see. For example, now, if I have a large tax payer and is in large tax group that goes there and it's one stop where you have all your data solved, that helps the data sharing even with other agencies and the rest. For example, if I go to custom now, give me the top 20 importer. Definitely, those one will belong to large tax. It goes straight to large tax office, and you won't see anybody asking custom for another information. Because for you to do seamless integration with all these things, you need to standardize. Yeah. And then the way of standardizing, I bring uniformity into it. It helps you integrate so that we can have unified collection, which is the end goal, which is our vision. But it's not what we are doing immediately. We are only integrating through system.
In this integration, it will not be difficult for anybody, any company to run away from paying taxes.
No, it will be
hide or to search.
I will tell you, it will be very difficult. And like I said, we don't forget that we provide service to our taxpayer. We don't see them as criminal. We see them as our partner. So we are putting system in place that will drive voluntary compliance. So I don't see them as a very, or no, that is not the type. I just explained to you. They are the trees, and we are looking for their fruit. So the only thing we have to do is to water them, give them conducive environment, so that
we are working hard, Mr. Adedeji. Do they have incentive? For example, for those who are making, doing the hard work, is the FIRS thinking of incentives for faithful taxpayers?
No, that the incentive, that is what we've done now. The incentive for faithful taxpayer. You see, if you see the way we've categorized them now, if you are a large taxpayer, you have special service that we are rendering to you. If you are medium, you have special service that we are rendering to you. In order to be able to incentivize them, that is why we have to categorize them. So we will tailor our service towards their need.
I mean, when we say we've seen some kind of improvement in government revenue under this administration, but this doesn't seem to benefit the ordinary Nigerian. It seems it has only created more spending opportunities for those in government.
I don't believe you, and I don't know how you determine that. For example, like I said, our responsibility is to assess, collect, and account for all these taxes. And if you look at Mr. President's budget, this is the first time in more than 10 years that we're actually reducing our fiscal deficit just as a result of expectation and hope that we have in tax collection. Just in few days ago, Mr. President approved the commencement and implementation of student loan. One of the major sources of income or sources of fund for this student loan is education tax being paid by taxpayer. So I don't know where you will see that it will increase income and you don't see increased services. So now, for the first time in few years, we will have these student maintenance loan, student tuitions loan that we want to give to all the students, to most of the students in our higher institution, and even for skill acquisition. So I don't see where you get that we increase. So as we are increasing our fiscal responsibility and fiscal discipline, you see the direct impact on the kind of services that we are providing. And if you move around in Abuja now, you see that it's becoming a construction site, most especially as far as road is concerned. So I don't know where you will see that it increases and you don't see the impact. We understand, and that is normal. That when you are in this kind, it's like you plane want to take off. It is not the same balancing that you do. This is a taking off time for us. We will soon balance now, where they will have everybody to lose their bet, relax, and continue. This is just taking up. And and you will be truthful that you will have seen that we really know what we are doing. We have plan. We understand the enormity of the pain of Nigeria, and we are working day and night, including led by Mr. President, to make sure that citizens actually feel the impact of good governance.
You are the chief tax collector of the nation. The president promised at the onset of this administration that he will not tax investments.
Yes.
But investors are still groaning. Some are leaving the country. What specific incentives is the administration offering investors?
Honestly, and that is why this kind of question is very important. So we use that to educate ourselves. So Mr. President is not just giving empty promises. When he said that I'm not going to tax investments, I'm not going to tax seed, that I'm not going to tax poverty, immediately he set up the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Reform and Tax Reform, Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform, which they've submitted their first preliminary work, and out of which we've used it to, if you look at it today, we've suspended VAT on diesel. Not only that, the executive order was signed by Mr. President to make life better for people. And we are waiting. Don't forget, we give them 12 months, out of which 6 months has already gone. They are coming up with comprehensive tax reform that will reduce the total tax we collect as a nation to 1 digit, from these multiple taxes to only 1 digit type of taxes that we want to focus on. So
suggested reduction from 200 to 9.
Yeah. And then we are on track to get that done. That one, I can tell you, Mr. President is committed to fulfilling those promises as he has always done.
I mean, you see what the Buhari government did. As soon as the Tinubu government came into office, and people will say, oh, these are policy somersault, and perhaps the president also signed 4 executive orders. And one will wonder, what exactly is going on? Because most agencies of government are currently under great pressure to generate IGR. Some of these agencies are not really set up as revenue generating agencies of government. You said that you want to be the leading government eye in tax collection, but they are putting enormous pressure on businesses. They're collecting licenses, permits, renewable fees, and all kind of levies on Nigeria.
Mr. Shehu, we should appreciate the Constitution of Nigeria. As much as we say this is Nigeria, you know, it is guided by law and constitutions. There are taxes that are meant to be collected by states, and we are under federalism. There are taxes that are meant to be collected by local government, and there are ones that belong to federal government. So the problem is that people model it up, that even what local government is doing, they say is taxes is federal government. What state is doing is federal that is federal government that is doing. So without trying to just look for blame or someone to blame, and this is one of the major reasons why you see Mr. President set up that committee, and it has liaised with NEC, with state governor, and they have seen positive response that will reduce such pressure drastically in coming days.
I know for the benefit of Nigerians, if in just one breath, in one statement, can you tell Nigerians what are the taxes that FIRS collect?
Oh, it's very simple. It's by law. So the taxes we collect is corporate taxes. And then don't forget, federal land revenue, if you look at the mandates that I just read to you now, we assess, we collect, and we account for money for federation, not only for federal government. We collect VAT. VAT is not only for federal government. When you every other form, but by law, the taxes we collect as a federal government is majorly the corporate income taxes. When you see personal income taxes, these are done by the state. When you see all these licenses, permits, these are local government taxes. So we have several of them, which from the work of this committee, they are being consolidated to just 1 digit taxes that we want to do. And this is backed up by data, because if you look at the whole gamut of these taxes you are talking about, less than 8% represent the 8 type of taxes represent 80% of the total collection. So why wasting time for all those double taxation? The state governors, the local government, they are seeing reasons why all those things will go, and I'm very sure shortly that we will have good news. Consolidated number of taxes.
Yeah, that the state government at loggerheads, they took the federal government to court over the, how these taxes should be, we should take what and what. But I'll still push for the interest of the Nigerian citizen. Those who are paying what I describe as implicit taxes.
Yes.
They pay for security, education, health, refuse collection, maintenance of roads in some cases, and several others. These are things the government ought to have provided in the first place.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. And you will see that we are not running away from our responsibility. And that is, but in where I come from, they say when tree fall upon the tree, you take them one by one. And that is what government is doing. And I'm very hopeful and optimistic that very soon you will feel impact. We empathize with Nigeria. And which is what I gave you the example. When plane is about to take off, it's not a good time for anybody because it will shake this way. But the moment we get balancing, which I know very soon we will get to, people will begin to feel the real impact of governance.
Well, within the next, you said by February, that's when this regime of your policy reform will start.
Yes.
Give us a hint into the larger picture, the bigger picture, in terms of taxation under the Tinubu government. What is the bigger picture for President Tinubu?
No, the bigger picture for us is to change the mindset. And that is what I've said. That service, the relationship between taxpayer and the government is that of symbiotic. We are here not to just go and tax as the way people have put it. We are to produce conducive environment for them, which we've been doing. And that is what led to the setting up of the committee. That is what led to the restructuring that we are doing the service now, to give them better service, advise them, and make sure that they prosper. Because it is in their prosperity that we will have our own share.
The orders that the president signed, you quoted to have said that the president or the government does not want to tax poverty.
Yes.
And there is the lifting of tax on taxes like custom, 5% telecom tax, and those other things. But if there is one thing to make the average Nigerian who is watching tonight happy tonight, and say, okay, this is what the Tinubu government is doing deliberately to alleviate their pains, what would that be?
And that is what we are saying. That is, for example, if you've looked at the economic plan that we've put in place, I just told you now that this is the first time in the last 10 years that you are having reduced budget deficits. This is the first time. Not only that, just 3 days ago, Mr. President announced to the commencement of student loan, which when you have people in school, when they can educate, because if you actually want to set people free, educate them. So now we are saying that money, resources will never be any reason why you will have any higher institution candidate out of school. And it is when they go there, they begin their life, the economic, they go and contribute their own portion to the economy of the country. And lastly, the one we've just done now, that I just told you now, that we are moving from tax unit that put complexity on taxpayer. We are removing it and we are giving them preferred tailored service to filing and then doing their civic responsibility. So this is one of the good things that we're doing.
Yeah, averagely, you see a lot of Nigerians, they will be asking questions. Banks, they'll charge you for this, charge you for that. Even your telcos, they'll charge you for this, charge you for that. And there's a lot of people will be wondering, where are these taxes going to? You begin to ask, where are these? Is the government trying to also clamp down on the unnecessary levies that private service providers are putting on the average citizen for services?
No, honestly, and you will see most of the regulatory bodies that we have. You have consumer protection that looks into all these kind of charges. You see central bank overseeing the bank to make sure they don't charge the customer unnecessarily. You see the NCC on telco, making sure that what they are doing is in line with what they should do. But don't forget that these are private entities, that when you see government begin to dictate pricing and everything to them, they will say, government has come again. As much as we put the regulatory system in place, we must not be seen as the one intervening in the running of a private business that we have in the country.
Mr. Tax Collector, when Mr. Oyedele talked about area boys and how they will use them to collect, is that part of the plan? Are you hoping to see area boys to collect tax?
No. Possibly what he was trying to say is that we will reform the system. And then it is part of what I say when people say focus on informal sector. How do you collect taxes from informal sector? And I say the focus of government is not to go and collect money from informal sectors. The focus of government is how to bring formality to informal sector. And if I just give you a basic example, what do you call informal sector here? Shoemaker, tailoring and everything. But Louis Vuitton, what do they do? Are they not shoemaker? Gucci, what do they do? Are they not shoemaker? Because informality is not because of the work you do. It's just making sure that we have system under which you are being regulated. So the focus of government is not to go and tax informal sector. The focus of government is to bring formality to informal sector.
We're looking forward to that customer-centric approach, the modernization, the digitization, the pruning down of the burden on citizens. And we hope that next time we bring you back on the program, we'll be hearing more good news and you're getting more money for Nigeria. Thank you so much, Zach Adedeji, the Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Thank you.
I wish you the very best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.